Yeah. Hey everyone, it's Rob Golfi here with Remax, the Golfi team. I got Conrad Zurini, Remax Escarpment, Remax Niagara, big broker, and Brian Hogben, Mission 35 Mortgages. He does it better than the banks, and or he actually gets interest rates better than the banks, which is true. Which is true, guys. Okay, the big talk here is Donald Trump. Tariffs would have a huge impact on the housing market. Yes, it would. I mean, I think it's just a tactic of him just scaring the world. If you guys don't do what we want to do, I guess and I don't blame Trump trying to do what's good for America. That's what he's representing. He's doing for America. I get it. Yeah. And he's seeing how weak these people are. He already got the Mexican government sending troops there to stop flowing of illegal immigrants into the U.S. He basically overnight stopped 95% of that leakage coming into the U.S. So I mean, what? You know,
he's a scorched earth negotiator. That's what he does. That's what he does, right? So this crazy concept, but you got to remember, he's governed by one thing and one thing only: the stock market. And when on Monday the stock market started to get jittery, that's his legacy. Like, he wants to show that he, grew the stock market, grew the U.S. economy. So now he's thinking, okay, how can I deal with it? And there's probably going to be sectors that are going to be affected down the road. Maybe lumber might have some sort of a tariff or whatever. He's going to renegotiate that whole thing. But at the end of the day, it's going to, it's a mindset thing. And, and we saw it in some numbers in some communities. But yeah, I think it's overall, it's just his negotiating tactic. So, that's how we negotiate all the time, don't we? Like, we say, hey, my people are never going to go that high, right?
But you know what? Like, okay, so now how much of an impact? Like, I think it is a tactic of him getting things the way he wants.
Yeah.
But do you think they need us as much as we need them, but we need them more. I get it.
Yes.
I get it. We need them more. Now, but they need, like, they don't want to go crazy with oil, right? Like, I mean, they're buying oil from Canada or energy from Canada.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the northwestern states. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
So they're buying. So are they just going to not tariff that as much just because they're going to try to drill their own, and then they'll say goodbye to Canada down the road?
Well, that's why they had 10% tariffs on Alberta, right? Like on the energy, they made that 10% when they made everything else 25%. And then the type of oil that they end up getting, they need an ingredient from ours, right? Which helps them produce better oil. So I don't see them looking to lose that. And that's why they're just making it a limited tariff at 10% there.
Right. Yeah. So basically, I mean, like, everybody's all worried about this. I feel that this is,
what? We got a ton of calls on this, and I think just like you guys did too. And I had to tell a lot of people, listen, are you buying a house for the next 30 days or for the next 30 years? Right. And I think what we basically said to people is, listen, if you're concerned about something in the next 30 days, you should just really reconsider buying a house then.
Absolutely.
If you're worried about something in a month, you shouldn't buy.
No.
Right.
So they shouldn't buy no matter what the market's like.
100%, right? And it's like listen, there are tons of people that are in jobs right now that are not affected by tariffs. Yep. We do tons of people in healthcare, dentists, doctors, government employees, teachers. Like, there are a lot of trades, there are a lot of industries that aren't affected. So you have to do an audit and say, am I affected? If I am, then maybe you reconsider. But if not, move ahead.
Yeah, but look at this. The conditions are the best they've ever been. Honestly, you got to think, we had an influx of inventory that came on the market, double-digit inventory in January. Okay, prices dropped a little bit, so now you got this perfect opportunity where, money is the market's a little softer. You can negotiate a little bit more. Money is at the right price, so the people, like the smart money, already started getting into this market probably Q4 of last year, and the smart money is still going to continue to come in Q1, Q2. in spite of this, yeah, there will be targeted tariffs and things like that. They're going to make some adjustments. But overall, I think this, like I said, it's just a one-off, and there are several winners in this economy that are out there and doing things. Our appointments were up 9% last week, went right in the throes of the announcement. So there are people that are out there looking. And to Brian's point, if you were that volatile, a stroke of a pen is going to change your economic outlook. Well, then I think you should reconsider buying.
Oh,
100%.
absolutely. That is a good terminology, and I'm going to use that with my team and say, listen, like, what are you worried about? I mean, we've been through so much stuff, in the last 100 years, and it survived. And guess what? If you look at, think about this: a house downtown, let's say Hamilton, 100 years ago, how much would that house sell for? $500.
100 years ago.
100 years ago, $500. What would that be?
Yeah. Well, in the 50s, I remember my grandfather bought in James North. It was a semi, and he paid about, I think it was $3,000. Yeah.
Oh shit. So we're talking maybe even way less 100 years ago. Like we're talking maybe, $150, $200.
Well, I remember my parents bought their house in 1974, and it was around Prince's Point in Westdale. And they bought it for, oh my gosh, in the early 70s, it was under $20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents bought in 1964 for $15,000, a bungalow, 3-bedroom bungalow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, like, and how much crap have we gone through since 1950s till today? How many recessions? How many, we went through a pandemic. We went through so much crap. So you're right. You're absolutely right, Brian. Like, are you buying the house for just the next 30 days? Are you buying to move in? If you're buying as an investment, I mean, if you're buying a house, it's got to be long-term investment.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
You don't buy a house just for, if you want to flip, go ahead. That's your deal. That doesn't matter. But most investors that buy real estate, they hold on to real estate.
And it's no different than like you said, 10, 20, 30 years ago. You wanted to make sure that you had a job a month from now. If you were worried about losing your job, you wouldn't buy a house, right?
Yeah.
These fundamentals don't change. The things that change is the the Trumpster and how in your face he is and how crazy it is, right? That's what's changing these days.
Oh my God. Like this guy's getting in everybody's head.
And if you let him get in your head, right? That's the key, right? Like, look, there isn't, like you said, Rob, there's an imbalance. Yes, there's an imbalance out there in terms of trade. Canada's benefited from a lot of it, without a doubt. Per capita, there's absolutely without a question. There's going to be like sectors that may see a little bit of it. But again, this is a perfect opportunity for Canada to eliminate all those cross-provincial borders that we have. Let's start giving, selling oil to Ontario from Alberta, and let's look at European markets. This is the time when you kind of look at your whole portfolio of your economy and say, hey, where can we grow? And the same thing I think individuals have to look at with their own portfolios and their own wealth. And most people have wealth in their homes. And like you said, we might see some slow growth for the next little while. But I will tell you, 18 months from now, those people that bought during Q4 of 2024 and this Q1 of 2025, 18 months, just hold on. 18 months will be something of a bright light for you, honestly. Even in the rental market, because we're starting to see investors come back in because cost to borrow is coming down. And they're talking in Canada another 100 basis point reduction. Can you imagine?
Well, and you know what? With the fixed rates just dropped a little bit this week. So now we're seeing rates that a fixed rate that can start with the 3 almost, right?
Yeah.
So that is low money. And we were just starting to see the variable catch up to the fixed. So you're right, Conrad. Like when you talk about a great environment to borrow money in, this is one of those environments. This is
time. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it.
And I always remind people too, like, listen, people think it can keep going down and down and down, but you got to remember that there's more upside risk than downside. And what I mean by that, it could go down another 100 basis points. That's 1%, but it's not going to hit the floor. And it eventually will in 18 months, maybe 2 years, it's going to go up again. So these are the times that you really got to jump in and look at it.
And that whole myth about 2021 and the big double cohort of the 2023 people refinancing in 2026, if you look at the rates and the trajectory where rates are going to be, it's barely going to be 1% more than what they're paying now. So at the end of the day, if they paid down the equity, didn't borrow more and put more on their HELOCs and their credit cards, they're going to be just fine going into 2026 renewing, and then all that talk about people, walking away from their homes and prices dropping is completely eliminated at this point. Done. Off the radar screen.
And to your point, Conrad, I got my mortgage statement in. I did have one unicorn mortgage, and I had one of those 1.95% coming due this year. You know how much principal I was paying off every year?
Yes. Yeah.
$20,000 a year in principal. That never happens on a long-term. So people got to remember that. To your point, the rates are down. You got tons of equity if you bought 5 years ago because you paid off so much in principal. You're not going to have an issue refinancing, renewing, all that jazz. Unless you unless you went out and bought 5 BMWs and did some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But you're going to be fine.
So on a side note, I want to talk to you. The negotiations of the Tim Hortons field when Bob Young threatened to say he's taking the Ticats to the East Coast. If I was mayor, I says, go ahead. This stadium should be down. I'm not sure if you guys feel the same way as I do. That stadium should have been built downtown Hamilton.
The West Harbor. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. Yeah. 100%.
I agree.
They were worried. And see how strong. See Bob Young, smart negotiator. I'm telling you, like our mayor at the time did not. I'm not sure who has the power, but I would have said there's no way the Ticats would leave this town. Even like him threatening, just like they should have put this. They should have put this. That stadium shouldn't have been rebuilt at the same location. Terrible situation. Everybody knows about it, but that's a perfect example of the city of Hamilton being scared of what this billionaire was threatening, and there's no way they would do it. Any one of us guys would have stood up and said, "Yeah, go ahead. We're going to get
the power."
Yeah,
who's got the power, right? Like the power position was in his hands. The power position now is Trump. Everybody wants in on that economy. Rob, that's a great analogy. It's totally classic Hamilton.
Yeah, they always screw up.
They always cave all the time.
They always cave. But what I'm saying is, Trump's a power negotiator, power marketer. He knows how to get people to get scared, and he's doing it. And now he's in the most powerful position in the world, and he's just he's thrown his weight around. He's showing it. He's flexing. He's flexing. He says, guys, hey, if you don't do this, I can do this to you. So
and
are you
gonna
got
no shame in his game either. I love, just the comments where he's like, who negotiated this deal? And then you look back and
I know.
I did.
Who was stupid enough to put this deal together? I just you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I wonder what, he still has another 4 years to go, right? Yeah. And it's hard. Like, he's at the beginning stages. I wonder in 20 years what they will say about Trump. They're going to, it's going to, it's hard to tell. I get it. He's trying, but he can't change that, the trade, it took 100 years to put together. You can't just do it in 4 years. There's no way. He can do tariffs on some things, but there's no way that he could totally turn it around. No way.
The time will tell in 2 years with the midterms. If he loses the House and the Senate, he's going to be the lamest duck president you've ever seen in your life. He's just going to be a lot of talk. Nothing else is going to get done. It's just going to be talk. Right. So be interesting.
He's got 2 years, right? He's got 2 years with he controls everything for 2 years.
Yeah.
So, he's going to try to get
hot. So
he's going to try to get as much done as possible in those 2 years because he knows he's. Who knows? He may if he's getting results done and things are looking good.
Right.
They'll get another 4 years in the Senate there. So
yeah.
But
true.
But anyway, guys, listen, I appreciate you on. And now, if you're looking at joining a brokerage, go to Remax Escarpment. If you're looking to join a team, call us, Rob Golfi, Remax the Golfi team. If you're looking to join or get a mortgage or join a mortgage broker, join Mission 35 Mortgages. We all are at the top of our game. Nobody is above us. We are at the top of our game. We follow what the trends are in the States and here. So if you want to learn from the best, call Conrad, Brian, or myself. I'll tell you, we've got what it takes to stay on top.
Yeah,
All right,
you're
guys.
here, Rob.
Thanks.
Thanks,
All
Rob.
right. Take care.